Is.
Children.
Okay, when you're ready, Sage. I've decided to do Sarah Kane because, well, she interests me like the most out of any practitioner I've ever even looked at, and it excites me quite a lot listening to like her point of view. A surface level understanding is like usually what people take from her work is like she breaks down her suffering and failures and evaluate for other people to evaluate the experience, and it's a very vulnerable experience. An article by The Independent where she says there isn't anything you can't represent on stage. If you are saying you can't represent something, you're saying you can't talk about it, you're denying its existence. She wants to push those boundaries. I feel that her need to be vulnerable is like sharing her own experiences, and one she feels are significant, somehow still untouched due to their taboo nature. I feel that in the future I want to take Sarah Kane's purpose that she uses to motivate her to motivate me. Creating something, you have to say, is far more worthy than saying like creating for creating's sake. It happens so often in the media that we watch all of the time, and it has no real meaning. It's just for like the money that it's creating, these like creators. Lots of writers take from personal experience now, but it wasn't like a thing that you saw a lot in like the 90s, like very, very early 2000s. Lots of articles I've looked at are very insensitive about her mental health struggles. Like her entire Wikipedia page, like half of it is about her like death and suicide, and she was so much more than that, but that's what people choose to reflect on. It has a big impact on her work, but it's like not what we should really be focusing on. Before she published Blasted, she had a very small amount of writing experience. She said she wrote 23 monologues, a comic monologue, Starved, and What She Said, which she said was all she had done, which is crazy. She clearly had faith in her own writing, which is why she chose to stay in higher education, completing 2 courses while doing university. Her first play, Blasted, shocks critics due to its violent theme. I believe that the controversy in this work wasn't it was a very good gateway for her to be into the mainstream. It showed audiences like her work and to a larger audience. Tabloids post her as some insane sadist, and I believe without the push of her being a crazy woman, her publicity would not have been as widespread. But it was like a very good way to show people who were genuinely interested in her artwork and saw it for what it was, to be able to see it, otherwise they wouldn't have known it existed. Sarah Kane has never explicitly said who her target audience was. However, it's definitely not for the masses. The topics in her writing are extremely heavy and in no way family friendly. I believe that her intentions, like writing, would not suit any kind of filtering, just to suit anyone else's idea of what is morally right or wrong. She blurred the lines of who her work is for quite a lot. She used simplified language and short, effective phrasing. It made it accessible for anyone, no matter their education, so they could understand everything that she was writing about. However, it's not a comfortable viewing experience at all. But a lot of what I've watched of her work actually was fairly distressing. Before writing her last script for 48 Psychosis, she said, "To sing without hope, isn't that what it is to write, to live, to love?" She believed that she could write about anything, and that was her purpose. I find that, if anything, Sarah Kane's work has integrity. She doesn't change it for the masses. I have full faith in what she writes, and I trust her to write about those things, not just for a selfish purpose. When trying to research her collaborators, I found literally nothing apart from a couple of directors. But it wasn't said she'd worked with them at all. By what I understood, she gave them the script, and that was it. It makes sense to me. Her writing is very personal and vulnerable, with her mental health issues in that condition. I would it would be a massive mental hurdle for her to try and jump over, and it would be worth it for her. I've always found getting a second opinion or working with someone through my process opens my mind. I find that my own personal experience is fairly close-minded because I am fairly privileged in my life. However, and having a second opinion can open that up. But I feel that it's she's made her own self-aware reflection on this, and I have no criticism about that. One thing I watched in its entirety, and especially for this presentation, was Skin. I find her this is where I found her loosely collaborating with Vincent O'Connell. When viewing, I found it was very different feel to her other work, because obviously it's interpreted by different people. She doesn't direct the stage plays or anything. But I don't know if it's pinpointed to it being acted on screen or Vincent O'Neill's ideas towards the project, but it was just very different. It retains the trademark strong message, disregarding the casual viewer. Her writing is no means lost in the whole film experience. I was left with a strong message of the body as a vessel, and I was left shocked because I knew that that's exactly what Sarah Kane wanted to show everyone. She explored ideas of what humans do to their bodies and what other people choose to do to other people. It was such a good take on it. I really admired the raw and gruesome truth that she depicted of the raw, of the harsh realities of the human condition. It was just so interesting, and I would love to show a clip, but that is for your own risk. It was really good though. I recommend. We should be exploring more rather than hiding like Sarah Kane does, and I want to do this for myself. Before finding a version of this that I could watch, I filtered through so many websites saying this is restricted in certain areas, your government says that this is not okay for you to watch, whether it was you can be over 18 or no one can watch this. I think fair enough, age restrict it, because I don't think children should be watching something like that. However, if you have the mental capability and to admire that artwork, I think it's so sad that a government would stop you from hearing out a writer's message. She attended Shenfield Comprehensive School. She says that she hated it until sixth form. It makes perfect sense. Most creatives hate school until they can choose what they actually want to do. It was irrelevant for what she wanted to do. She finished A-levels in a drama course at Bristol University, and then she decided to fund another year of university so she could find out and write a full-length play with more than one person. To get a grant for doing that was ideal for her. She chose to do this at the University of Birmingham. Usually when hearing about a success story, you find that that person is so that's exactly what they want to do, and they know it from birth. You hear about dancers when they were 3 years old, dreaming about being at all these places, and that just wasn't it for her. She had no idea what she wanted to do until she found out that was her art form. I think that's really interesting because you don't really hear about people going, "Oh, I didn't know." I think it makes her more human. During my research, my main response that I needed to experiment in the same way that Sarah Kane does. I feel that it would be a significant step in furthering my understanding of her writing, my own writing, and would just elevate the entire thing. In the past, I've taken a structured approach, taking a subject matter I'm interested about and then writing, rather than writing just what I want to and what I feel is important to share to the public. It happens so often that you just create because for creating's sake, like I said before. I believe that I'm ready to write with the intentions to make people think and not to mother them through an experience, like how she does. she trusts her audience to be intelligent about the way that they learn from it. This is mainly like she doesn't infantilize or patronize the audience, and it means a lot to me. I can trust her. Something I am less easy to try is her lack of collaboration. I still believe it's an important part of my process. And my bibliography is on my website.
Great. Good, thank you very much. She's really shutting it down. That's over.
And I'm done.